Goldilocks and the Three Bears, a gentle bedtime story once upon a time, in a cozy cottage nestled deep in a peaceful forest. There lived three bears who were the very best of friends. There was Papa Bear, who was large and gentle, Mama Bear, who was kind and wise, and little Baby Bear, who was small and cheerful. Every morning, the three bears would make a delicious breakfast of warm porridge. But this particular morning, the porridge was much too hot to eat right away. Papa Bear looked at the steaming bowls and said thoughtfully, "Perhaps we should take a nice walk in the forest while our breakfast cools down." Mama Bear and Baby Bear thought this was a wonderful idea, so they left their cozy cottage and wandered into the green, quiet woods. Now, while the bears were enjoying their peaceful morning walk, a curious little girl named Goldilocks was walking through the same forest. She had golden hair that sparkled in the sunlight, and she loved exploring and discovering new things. As she wandered deeper into the woods, Goldilocks noticed the sweet smell of something delicious drifting through the air. Following her nose, she soon discovered the bear's charming little cottage with its red door and flower boxes in the windows. Being a very curious child, Goldilocks gently knocked on the door. When no one answered, she found that the door was unlocked, and she quietly stepped inside. The cottage was warm and welcoming, with comfortable furniture and cheerful decorations. But what caught Goldilocks' attention most was the wonderful smell coming from the kitchen. On the wooden table, she found 3 bowls of porridge arranged in a neat row. The largest bowl was still steaming hot and much too warm to touch. The medium-sized bowl was still quite warm, but not as hot as the first. The smallest bowl, however, was just the right temperature. Not too hot, not too cold, but perfectly comfortable. Goldilocks was quite hungry from her long walk, and the porridge in the smallest bowl smelled absolutely delicious. So she took a small taste, then another, and before she knew it, she had eaten every last spoonful. With her tummy now full and warm, Goldilocks began to feel rather sleepy. She noticed 3 comfortable chairs arranged near the fireplace. The largest chair was very big and quite firm, too hard for a little girl. The medium chair was softer, but still not quite comfortable enough. The smallest chair, however, was just right, soft and cozy and perfectly sized. Goldilocks settled into the small chair with a happy sigh. But she was perhaps a bit too comfortable, because she curled up so contentedly that the little chair couldn't hold her weight. And down she tumbled with a gentle thump onto a soft cushion that had fallen to the floor. Now feeling even more drowsy, Goldilocks decided to find somewhere proper to rest. She climbed the creaky wooden stairs and found a bedroom with 3 beds arranged side by side. The largest bed was very big, with a firm mattress, too hard for comfortable sleeping. The medium bed was softer, with fluffy pillows, but somehow still didn't feel quite right. The smallest bed, however, was absolutely perfect. Soft and warm, with the coziest blankets imaginable. Goldilocks climbed into the small bed, pulled the gentle covers up to her chin, and immediately fell into a peaceful sleep. While Goldilocks was napping, the three bears returned from their delightful morning walk, feeling refreshed and ready for their breakfast. Papa Bear noticed right away that someone had been tasting his porridge, though there was still plenty left in his large bowl. Mama Bear saw that her porridge had been tasted too, with just a few spoonfuls missing. But when little baby bear looked at his bowl, he discovered it was completely empty. Then Papa Bear noticed that the cushion from his chair had been moved. Mama Bear saw that her chair had been sat in as well, and Baby Bear found his little chair tipped over, though not broken, just resting on its side with the soft cushion nearby. Curious about their unexpected visitor, the three bears climbed the stairs to check their bedroom. Papa Bear could see that someone had been resting in his bed, though it was barely disturbed. Mama Bear noticed her bed had been tried too, with just a small impression in the soft mattress. But when Baby Bear looked at his bed, there was Goldilocks sleeping peacefully under his cozy covers. The three bears gathered quietly around the bed, speaking in gentle whispers so as not to frighten their sleeping visitor. At that moment, Goldilocks opened her eyes and saw three kind bear faces looking down at her with curiosity rather than anger. She sat up slowly, feeling a bit embarrassed about her adventure. Papa Bear spoke in his deep, gentle voice. "Good morning, little one. I hope you slept well." Mama Bear added kindly, "You must have been very tired from your walk in the forest." And Baby Bear, who was excited to meet someone his own size, said cheerfully, "Would you like to stay for breakfast? We have plenty of porridge." But Goldilocks, feeling shy about her uninvited visit, politely thanked the bears and explained that she should return home to her own family, who would be wondering where she was. The bears understood completely. Papa Bear packed some delicious porridge in a small container for her journey home. Mama Bear gave her a small bouquet of wildflowers from their garden, and Baby Bear offered to walk with her to the edge of the forest to make sure she found her way safely. As they said their goodbyes at the forest's edge, Goldilocks promised to visit again soon, but next time she would remember to knock and wait for an invitation. The three bears waved goodbye and returned to their peaceful cottage, where they enjoyed their breakfast together and talked happily about their new friend. And Goldilocks walked home through the sunny forest, carrying her flowers and her container of porridge, already planning her next proper visit to the kindest bears she had ever met. From that day forward, whenever Goldilocks wanted to visit the three bears, she would always knock politely and wait to be invited in. And the bears were always delighted to welcome their curious friend for meals, stories, and wonderful adventures in their cozy cottage in the woods. And they all lived happily ever after. Asterisk. Now close your eyes and imagine walking through that peaceful forest, where kind bears live in cozy cottages and new friends are always welcome.